Today we're diving into the new NKS integration for the M-Audio Oxygen series of MIDI controllers, which gives you seamless control over Native Instruments plugins right from your controller with no custom mapping required. NKS, or Native Control Standard, allows for deep hardware-software integration, which allows you to take advantage of features like automatic parameter mapping for instruments and effects, and an enhanced workflow where you can browse presets and tweak sounds from the controller without touching the mouse. And the best part is it works across the entire Native Instruments ecosystem. Let's dive in with how to set this up. First, you'll want to open up Native Access, which is like the hub for all things Native Instruments. Here in your library, you want to look for Komplete Kontrol. If you haven't downloaded Komplete Kontrol yet, go ahead and download it. But for now, I'm going to open it right up. This is going to open up Komplete Kontrol as a standalone application. You can also open up Komplete Kontrol as a plugin in your DAW, which we will do in a minute. Now I'm going to connect my Oxygen Pro 49 to my computer via USB, and in Komplete Kontrol at the top, you can see that mine says M-Audio here. Yours will probably say MIDI if you're doing it for the first time, but I'm going to click that. And here you will see a list of NKS compatible MIDI controllers. We can filter down from M-Audio, and you can find the controller that you're going to be using. Since I'm going to be using the Oxygen Pro 49, I'll select that one, but do take note of all the other controllers that do have NKS integration. If I double click my controller, we're now connected and ready to start using the integration. But before we move on, let me jump back to that page for a moment, because here you can find a list of all of the mappings that we can use to navigate around Native Instruments sounds, which I'm going to walk you through right now, but just know if you forget any of the controls, you can always come back here. We have to take a couple steps on the keyboard before we move forward. First, we're going to change the preset on the keyboard by holding the preset button, and we're going to use this encoder to scroll until we get to preset 16. Press enter. We're also going to change the mode to MIDI. From here, you'll just want to check your settings to make sure that your MIDI controller is selected as a MIDI input. Now let's make some sound. I'm going to load up one of my favorite piano sounds, which is called The Gentleman. I'm going to load up this basic Gentleman preset, and now I'm able to play the keys, but that's pretty basic. Let's see what else we can do. First of all, my 8 macros here at the top are going to allow me to control the parameters that we see on screen. So you can see that I'm adjusting the tone with the macro knob 1. And if I want to see what I'm actually controlling, I can open up this macro tab here. And I can see that I can turn space on by using this knob here. Turn up the amount, the size, and the distance. And suddenly, we've got reverb on the piano. But we've got even more control with this integration now. Let me open up a project I've been working on so I can show you what else we can do. All right, so here's this kind of dark hip-hop beat I've been working on. And this lead sound I've got here is from the Play series by Native Instruments. It's kind of like a vocally driven instrument that uses 2 samples balanced in A and B, or we can actually balance them with our macros right now, and blend these sounds together to make different sounds. You can see I've got control over the cutoff, and these 8 macros right here are what we're controlling with the 8 macros on our controller. That's pretty straightforward. There are, though, more controls that we can use these macros for. If I open up this macro page, you can see there's multiple pages of parameters that we can adjust with macro knobs. And to scroll through these pages, we can use the buttons below faders 7 and 8. And you can see that we're scrolling through the different pages. Where I can now move in and maybe turn down some of the glide on these instruments. Actually, I liked it with the glide a bit better. Let's dial that back in. But you can see that now my macro knobs reflect the knobs that we're seeing on screen. I like that sound. Let's go ahead and scroll back to the first page. Now, let's say I actually want to scan through and find a different preset. We can actually use the buttons below faders 1 and 2 to scroll up and down the preset list. All right, so that's sounding pretty good, but let's jump to another sound. I actually want to take a look at some of the drums in this track. You'll notice that I've got battery loaded up here with a full drum kit. And all the same principles apply. I can use these buttons to scroll through different presets. Well, let's head back up to our original drum kit. I want to keep that. But you'll also notice that we have two other devices here in the chain, a solid EQ and byte, which is like a bit crusher. To get to those from the controller, we can use the buttons below faders 5 and 6. Fader 6 progresses us through to the right. Fader 5, we can go back. So right here, right from the controller, we can scroll through these devices. And you guessed it, when we land on a device, our macro controls now adapt to the plugin that we're seeing on screen. So if I wanted to add some type of high pass filter on this, we're actually adjusting that right here with that macro on the solid EQ. And I'm using the high pass filter on these drums in particular because I have my kick on a separate track. Here I've scrolled over to byte and we are able to, this one, change that sample rate, change the crunch, and really get a kind of lo-fi sound here. All right, I could do that all day. But basically what that means is I've got these nice top end perks that blend nicely into my full track. And I'm able to basically do all of this control without touching the mouse. Scan through from my drum kit to an EQ to a little bit of bit crushing. I can add another effect that I want into this chain. And I'd be able to access that right from my controller as well, as you can see here. It's all about hands-on control, and it's coming to the Oxygen Pro Mini, the Pro 25, Pro 49 and 61, and the MKV 49 and 61 legacy controllers. This is a huge workflow upgrade for M-Audio Oxygen controller users. All of the sounds you're hearing in this beat were made with Native Instruments sounds, so it's worth downloading Komplete Kontrol, check out what sounds you've got, pull out your M-Audio keyboard, and start making some beats. That's going to be all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Tatro. Have a good one.